It is my pleasure to hand over the webinar to Eldo, and I'm going to just read, for you his CV. Very illustrious, but I'm going to give you the shortened version of someone who's achieved and done so much. Eldo is the founder of Vedatma. It's a career guidance platform that has helped over 1,000 students and professionals align their strengths with meaningful career paths, certified in tools like MBTI and strong interest inventory. He combines scientific insights with an empathetic approach to guide individuals. Under his leadership, Vedatma has partnered with leading schools and institutions, empowering a generation to make confident, process-driven, and career decisions in a competitive occupational landscape. Please, everyone, I would love to hand over to Eldo.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for that introduction, and hello to everyone here. Let me just share my screen. There you go. I hope everybody can see my screen. First and foremost, I would like to express my gratitude to Lisa and Teach Middle East, whose support has been instrumental in making this webinar a reality. As Lisa mentioned in my introduction, my passion for helping students discover their true potential inspired me to start Vedatma a few years ago. Vedatma, that word Vedatma in ancient Indian language means self-knowledge. I realized that kids need to understand themselves first before choosing a career path. They must align their strengths and unique qualities with a career that fits them, as this is the key to achieving both professional success and personal satisfaction. In today's fast-paced world, making informal decisions about the educational choices and career paths is more critical than ever. We all know that the world is changing around us. Imagine a future where every student is empowered with the knowledge and skills to navigate the complex job market of tomorrow. Now, this session aims to shed light on how we can collectively achieve that and prepare our students for this future. We'll start in this presentation by exploring certain alarming trends in the current job market. Then we'll discuss difficulties faced by our students in making career-related choice. And finally, we'll explore how we can guide students using world-renowned psychometric career assessments to help them choose appropriate study streams and careers which will ensure professional success and personal satisfaction in their lives. Moving on, we all agree as educators, one of our primary responsibilities is to prepare our students to find a meaningful career when they actually enter the workforce. Now, one of the truest measure of being in a meaningful career would be actually the job satisfaction experience at the workplace. However, when we actually consider the job market of today, one of the greatest concerns is an alarming increase in job dissatisfaction. Now, to quote few surveys, when you take up Gallup's 2024 State of the Global Workplace survey, which captured responses for more than 128,000 employees from over 160 countries. So it's a vast survey. Now, according to its report, in 2023, overall well-being declined with 62% being not engaged and 15% actively disengaged at their work. Now, more than 50% of them are actively seeking a new job due to this disengagement. Now, Gallup estimates that such low engagement cost the global economy $8.9 trillion. That's actually 9% of global GDP because of this disengagement, what the world has lost. Now, if you look at it, this disengagement and dissatisfaction is more acute in the youngest working population who have just joined the workforce. Another survey by Deloitte it's the Gen Z and Millennials survey, gives us an insight into this by capturing responses from more than 22,800 Gen Z and millennial respondents across 44 countries. Now, the results of this survey clearly shows that Gen Z are highly disengaged and exhausted at work. Now, few stats you will see there. 36% of Gen Z employees experience exhaustion or low energy at work. 35% say they're mentally distanced from their job. Now, 4 out of 10 Gen Z employees struggle to perform to the best of their ability. Yet another Gallup survey in 2022 kind of came out with the same answers. That highlighted that Gen Z is the most disengaged at work of any generation at a high percentage of 54%. Now, it is important to understand the reason why people are getting dissatisfied in their jobs, as is evident from all these surveys. It is important because as educators, we are responsible to make sure our students, who are the future workforce, can avoid such a problem. Now, what these figures suggest is a systemic issue in how we guide our young people into adulthood. The problem lies in the one-size-fits-all approach that has dominated career counseling for decades. Too often, students are actually funneled into predetermined paths based on outdated notions of success, with little regard for their unique strengths, their passions, or the rapidly changing job landscape. This misalignment is actually the key factor in the younger generation being disengaged and unproductive at their work. Now, let's look at this interesting video.
When you were a kid, you had dreams. Maybe you wanted to be an astronaut, or a lion tamer, or an inventor of something awesome. But as you get older, your interests and passions change, and you discover other things that you love to do. But you have no clue how those interests or passions could actually translate into a real career. On top of that, there's a choir of outside voices that all want to tell you who you are and what you should be. And those voices are hard to ignore, especially if you don't really know yourself. And the tragic thing is, if you don't know yourself or what the best career options are for you, the chances of you ending up here are pretty high.
Now, we all agree we don't want our students to end up in the dark. Now, how can we ensure our students choose study streams and later university courses, which will lead them to a career which is best suited for them and will ensure professional success and personal satisfaction? Now, the answer lies in solving the career puzzle for our students at an early age. It is beneficial to look at the career puzzle in terms of solving the 4 W's: the what, the where, the who, and the why. Now, the what relates to the subject streams or university courses which a student wants to do in life. The where relates to the school or university where the student wants to study. Now, interestingly, the who relates to the personality traits, interests, and skills of the student. And finally, the why relates to what the student values most in life, what they want to accomplish in their lives. Now, unfortunately, undue focus is only on the what and where aspects when making educational and career choices. As in, we all know, people are caught up with what subject streams to choose and which university to study. All too often, parents and students end up ignoring the more important aspect of trying to figure who the student is in terms of the uniqueness, and also the real important why of the student, the values and the specific motivations of the student. Now, before making choices in subject streams and university courses, it is important to figure the who and the why aspects of the student. Now, let's move on. Let us take a deeper look at the why aspect we just discussed. Now, the importance in discovering each student's why or their sense of purpose is underlined by the findings in the 2024 Gen Z and Millennial Survey by Deloitte. Nearly, and you can see the stats there, nearly 9 in 10 Gen Zs, 90%, say having a sense of purpose at work is the key to their job satisfaction. Now, we all know almost all corporate companies have a vision and mission statement to guide them in the right direction, right? We all know that. But when it comes to an individual or a student, developing a career mission statement is actually hardly discussed or explored. We, as educators and career counselors, should actually help each student explore and develop their personal career mission statement early in their high school years itself. Now, if they can start exploring a sense of purpose in life and how they want to express that sense of purpose in their future work, this actually would really help them navigate their studies and career choices with a grasp of a bigger vision of who they are and of themselves and actually their place in the world. Moving on, now let's look at the other important aspect, the who aspect of the student. We all know without doubt that each of us are different. That's a given, right? That each of us are unique in our own way. Likewise, each student is unique in his or her way. Now, one way to look at this uniqueness of each student is to consider what we call the unique natural potential of each student. Now, as you can see, this is the convergence of three aspects of each student: their personality, their interest, and finally their skills or aptitude. Now, since each of these three aspects will be different for each student, it naturally follows that the convergence of these three aspects will lead to identifying something that's very unique about that particular student, what we call their unique natural potential. Identifying this uniqueness is important when we talk about identifying any careers for a particular student, because an ideal career should match this unique natural potential of the student for them to be successful. Now, why is discovering personality, interest, and aptitude of the student important when it comes to career decisions? Let's take a deeper dive. Aptitude, as you can see now, what I've just shared, aptitude relates to capability in a career. If a student's skill match the skills that needed in a particular occupation, naturally it follows that the student would be able to do that job better. They would be capable to do that job better. So it relates to capability. Similarly, the interest circle relates to motivation in a job. If it goes without saying, if the student is interested and passionate about a particular career, it follows that the student would be motivated in that particular job, right, leading to success. Finally, the third circle. Personality relates to satisfaction in a career. Now, this is important. If a student gets into a career in which the personality traits of the student is naturally a good fit, it follows that the student can be himself or herself in that occupation. They do not need to strain themselves to be somebody else to fit into that job. Hence, such a natural fit lets a student express themselves with ease in that job, which will be personally really satisfying internally for the student. Now, this is how the three circles of personality, interest, and aptitude relates to career. If the unique natural potential of a student matches a particular occupation, that student would be capable, motivated, and satisfied in that particular career. Now, if that happens, that would lead not only to professional success, which is important, but also a deeper personal fulfillment for that student in the long run. Now, let's take a breather and watch this short video. It just summarizes what I just said.
Unique natural potential is the convergence of your personality, interest, and aptitude. First, aptitude are skills that you are naturally good at. All careers and jobs need particular skills. Having these skills or aptitude would make you capable to do the particular job well. Second, interest in any particular career leads to motivation to do that better. Without interest in it, same won't be motivating at all and can lead to frustration. Third, personality is the sum of behavior and characteristics you have. It defines you to yourself and others. It is the essence of who you really are. If you landed in a career which requires you to continuously express behaviors which are not your natural self, this can lead to dissatisfaction in the long run. Simply put, you will be struggling to be someone else at your work. Imagine how easy the career would be if you could just be yourself at work. It would lead to immense career satisfaction.
I hope everybody is very clear what unique natural potential means by now. Now, the next question is, having covered the significance of discovering this unique natural potential and deciding careers, we need to address the next question, which is, how can we discover a student's unique natural potential? In other words, how can we identify the student's personality, career interest, and aptitude? This is where the psychometric assessments come in. Now, these assessments help us identify a student's personality, interest, and aptitude in a scientific manner. We all know today many employees, including many Fortune 500 companies, use actually psychometric assessments during recruitment process for better candidate evaluation. They're aiming to secure the best fit for each role, right? Thus, incorporating psychometric assessments in educational career counseling also makes sense, as we can assist students in determining what's best for them when choosing career options. Psychometric assessments are indispensable to the career counseling process, as they help both the counselor and the student understand the student's real capabilities, interests, and personality type. These are aspects which the student might otherwise would have overestimated, underestimated, or even ignored, right? A well-validated psychometric assessments actually provides us objective measure of these aspects and will form a solid foundation for making career decisions. Now, a common question you may have is, yes, we understand the importance of psychometric assessments, that's okay. But with so many available in the market, which one is the best? Now, let's discuss few world-renowned psychometric assessments considered gold standard in the field, right? Moving on, one of the most trusted and widely accepted assessments for personality is a Myers-Briggs type indicator. It's more commonly known as MBTI. Now, MBTI is the world's most widely used personality assessment by far. It is actually suitable for students from grade 9, and it goes all the way up to working professionals. The actual assessment is at an 8th grade reading level and actually generates different reports for various age groups. Now, in terms of the validity and how much it is used around the world, 90% of Fortune 100 companies utilize MBTI for team building, career development, and leadership training. Top educational institutions worldwide rely on MBTI. A lot of IBs use it. MBTI is used as a foundational tool to help students choose educational streams and career development, matching their personality. Now, with over 70 years of scientific research backing it, MBTI has high reliability and validity among psychometric assessments, which is important. Finally, it has extensive cross-cultural reference and is actually used across different countries and cultures. A testament to that fact is it's been translated to over 30 languages. I'm going to deep dive into a little bit, but without delving into excessive detail because of lack of time. Taking MBTI assessment allows students to understand their personality traits and specific mental functions. That's a slide that you see now. Now, what are mental functions? Mental functions means those functions of the mind. Now, psychology comes in, of the mind, through which a student takes in information and makes a decision, which is critical in any work setting. Every individual or student will have one of the four mental functions in their personality traits. As you can see on the screen, either an ST function, SF, NF, or NT. Again, like I said, due to time constraints, I won't explore deeper into how these mental functions affect career choices. I would need another half an hour to explain that. Moving on, however, what you can see on the screen, depending upon the mental function, ideal career fields may vary. If you look at the last row, for students with the ST mental functions, we look at the last row, ideal careers would involve technical skills with objects and facts. For SF students, they are best suited for careers which provide practical help and services for people. Now, NF students thrive in careers focusing on understanding and encouraging people. And finally, for NT students, ideal careers involve theoretical and logical frameworks. What the screen shows you is the way that follows and why how the mental function works and how it flows to logically come down to the career choices that the career fields the students are wired towards. Now, this slide illustrates the career fields associated with each mental function I just talked about. As you can see, again, if you just look at it, you will just see the differences in the career fields under each mental function combination. As you can see, understanding a student's mental function or personality trait through MBTI assessment would help to identify the ideal career fields that would suit the student's personality and hence would be ideally suited for the student to pursue later in their lives. Now, moving on, I'm going to the next circle of interest. Another widely accepted for determining interest areas of the student is a strong interest inventory. Now, the strong interest inventory assessment is one of the world's most trusted career planning tools. As you can see on the screen, it features 6 occupational themes that actually reveal students' preferred work environments. Now, it also contains another section of 32 basic interests, which narrow down specific areas of interest of the student. It also deals with 6 personality scales, which interpret students' preferred style of working, their preferred style of learning, leading, risk-taking, and team participation. And finally, the 243 occupational scales compare the students' interests in 243 occupations. What I just discussed, this slide actually summarizes the 4 major sections of the strong interest inventory I just explained. The 6 general themes, the 32 basic interests, the 243 occupations, and the 6 personal style scales. I guess it's very important to mention that the strong interest inventory provides a comprehensive 17-page report, 17-page report, covering all these 4 sections in detail. Each section offers valuable insights based on these outcomes, helping students identify the unique interests and potential career paths. Just to give an example, for instance, under the occupational scales section of the report, a student's interest level will be mapped against 243 occupations. Now, what on the screen is a screenshot that I've taken from the strong interest inventory report. It's just a page that I've taken. By comparing the students' interest across all the 243 occupations, we can identify the top 20 occupations that align with the student's interest. If you see on the screen, each occupation is listed in order of priority for the particular student. And each job title, if you can see, includes a hyperlink. Actually, students can click on that hyperlink to learn more about that particular occupation, including work activities and tasks involved, as well as career paths associated with that particular occupation. Additionally, if you move down at the bottom, you will see students can click that show all in the report to view all the 243 occupations listed in their particular order of priority. Now, it goes without saying, this tool not only aids in pinpointing particular career streams for a student, but it also actually expands a student's understanding of the work landscape by just helping them explore all 243 occupations. That itself is a great tool in the hands of the student. Now, I guess it's very important for me to mention two aspects that enhance the reliability and validity of both the MBTI and strong assessments. This is why they are probably treated as gold standard. First, only counselors certified in these assessments can utilize them with students. Thus, only experienced counselors trained and certified in these assessments can facilitate them with students. Second, both MBTI and strong assessments are not only administered to students, but they also required a validation through feedback session with a certified counselor. This means that even though students complete these assessments online, their results are provided only after one-on-one verification process between the student and the counselor. So let's say if a student was distracted while taking the online assessment, which could happen, any errors that would have crept in can be rectified during this feedback session during the counseling process, thus leading to more accurate and valid results. And this kind of sets these two assessments apart. They don't just make kids do an online assessment and just do out the results immediately. Now, moving on, I'll just take a little bit of time talking about our company. Now, speaking about our company, Vedatma, we have assisted thousands of students across this process over the last 7 years, both in India and abroad. Now, what sets us apart? How does Vedatma stand out from the rest? Now, we use world-class psychometric assessments. As I mentioned, we rely on MBTI assessment to identify personality types, and we actually rely on strong interest inventory to determine career interest. Students can take these assessments online from the comfort of their homes. Our hallmark actually is highly personalized one-on-one counseling. Now, unlike group counseling, we conduct individual counseling sessions with each student. These sessions are conducted online through our technology platform, which is actually integrated with Zoom. Once a student completes these assessments, personalized one-on-one counseling sessions are scheduled based on the mutual availability of the student and the counselor. So there's a lot of flexibility there. A counselor spends over 5 hours with each student across it's not all at one go, it's spread across 3 sessions on different days. Actually, parents are also welcome to join these sessions as silent observers. It's an option we give them, but as silent observers. Various career reports are generated that are personalized to the students' responses during the counseling exercises. One major differentiator for Vedatma is our counselors themselves. All our counselors, as I mentioned earlier, are seasoned professionals, and they are all certified in MBTI and strong assessment, which is a requirement, adding immense value through guidance and recommendation as they help students choose the best fit study streams and university courses. Even after the counseling sessions, students enjoy lifetime access to our technology platform. They can just log into their dashboard to access their various reports generated during the process. Along with, we provide continued email support as well. Finally, we have integrated an advanced AI platform on the student dashboard, enabling students to search for university courses, admission procedures, career growth opportunities, or any other queries related to their particular identified. Finally, we identify careers for them, and they can go beyond that using AI to search more stuff on that particularly best fit careers which we have identified for them. Vedatma is proud to be part of an ongoing journey for students for self-discovery and career guidance. Over the last 7 years, we have positively impacted the life of thousands of students spread across different geographies and educational institutions. By offering personalized guidance and innovative technology tools, Vedatma empowers students to achieve their full potential, laying the foundation for a future where they can thrive both personally and professionally. Thank you for your patient listening. As I conclude my presentation, let me play a short video of our counseling process for your better understanding. We will take up a Q&A session after this short video. Thank you.
VDATMA means self-knowledge, and through this in-depth knowledge of self, we help every student become their best. We guide students through this exciting process of self-discovery, helping them find answers to questions like, who am I? What am I passionate about? What are my skills and strengths? This discovery enables them to make an informed choice related to study streams and careers that are best suited for them, ensuring professional success and personal satisfaction. How does it work? We identify a student's unique natural potential using world-renowned career assessments. This is the convergence of their personality, interest, and aptitude. These assessments can be done online at the student's convenience at home. After these assessments, the student needs to attend 3 online one-to-one counseling sessions with a certified counseling expert. Parents can join as observers. By the end of session 3, we help the student identify his or her unique potential, which in turn helps in choosing the best fit study streams and careers. Why us? We use world-class assessments like MBTI and Strong Interest Inventory, which are gold standards in career assessments. Unlike group counseling sessions, we offer individual online counseling. We spend over 5+ hours spread over 3 sessions with each student, ensuring a highly personalized counseling session. During our counseling process, we also handhold students and individuals to create their own career mission statement. This would help them discover a sense of purpose in their lives, and this sense of purpose can help guide them to an ideal career path. Who benefits? Students from grade 9 all the way up to grade 12 to decide on their appropriate study streams, or anyone looking to understand their ideal career path. Visit us on www.vdatma.com for more information.
Brilliant.
Thank you so much. Over to you, Lisa.
Thank you, Eldo. Thank you so much. I do have some questions for you, Eldo. I think we will take some time to go through those questions, but I'd like to also ask our audience, if you do have questions, can you please ask them of us? Eldo, here's some commonly asked questions for you. Technology has been rapidly changing and the job landscape is changing. In this scenario, how necessary is it for a student to have technical skills like coding or skills of that nature for future job prospects?
Yeah, I think it's a very common question that we always get from parents and counselors because AI and machine learning is in vogue now, right? So I think I'm going to take a longer answer to this because I think it's very important that we understand the implications of this. See, it goes without saying, as intelligent automation brings about unparalleled changes, the nature of jobs itself would undergo substantive changes, right? The skills needed in all these jobs would constantly change as actually technology will cover more aspects of the job and human element will be pushed into behavioral skills like ability to work in team environments, ability to prioritize, ability to change and adaptability to change, things like that. So while it may be useful to learn technical skills like coding, let's say data mining in the short term, as you asked me, these technical skills will also be actually constantly changing or even becoming redundant as newer technical skills will emerge and needs to be learned. So I guess we cannot ever think in terms of a technical skill that would be useful in a lifetime. You can't learn a technical skill and think that, oh, that's going to take me forever. Quite the opposite. Technical skills have to be constantly updated, relearned, and most likely even be totally discarded to learn completely new skills. Just to give you a stat, according to the latest report by the World Economic Forum, approximately 44% of the global workforce will require reskilling or upskilling within the next 5 years to adapt to changing work requirements. Given this scenario, while let's say technical skills are increasingly becoming important, but for the long term, it is even more important to focus and develop behavioral skills. Several reports already highlight that behavioral skills are becoming increasingly critical as automation and AI take over many technical aspects. One common way to understand behavioral skills is to think about the 4 C's. I guess it's already known in academia. It's a critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity. Other important behavioral skills also need to be learned for the future, like ability to deal with change because the world is changing around us, and the ability to preserve our mental balance in unfamiliar situations. All these things are happening around us. What I'm trying to convey here is behavioral skills are becoming more valuable than ever because they are harder to automate. However, technical skills will also be crucial. So the future workforce will thus need to blend both effectively to stay competitive. And that's something that we need to keep in mind.
You know what I wondered as well as you were talking? Some students don't seem to have any career direction. They don't know what the next step is. They seem to be confused and they talk about different interests and different career paths at various stages. Today it's something, tomorrow it's something else. So it makes it difficult to help them with educational career guidance. But how can career counseling give them that clarity in these cases?
Yeah, again, I would start by saying, first and foremost, I would like to convey that it's okay for students to be confused. I guess here is where, especially in such cases where people keep talking about, students keep talking about different interests, could be because different interests may be pulling them in different directions. Now, doing a psychometric assessment would help them to narrow down their interest to specific areas of interest. This would help the student identify and differentiate their leisure interest and work interest. Within work interest, using a psychometric, what like I discussed about strong interest inventory, the student will be able to explore something like 243 occupation. In this process, the student will be exposed to the world of work. Sometimes, Lisa, it is sometimes the lack of awareness about occupation that limits choices by students also, and which makes them confused. Now, it's just not about interest alone. Once a student's specific areas or career interests are discovered, like I was talking about the 3 circles, it is also very necessary to figure out which of these careers, which is interest, which they like, actually match their personality and skills. For this, the student needs to undergo a personality assessment and skill mapping for sure. This actually would allow the discovery of what we called earlier the unique natural potential, right? The convergence of that personality, interest, and aptitude. Once a student can understand their true potential and how it matches with certain careers, now then the clarity would come in. They can confidently choose the study streams and related career paths in which, remember what I talked about, in which they will be capable, motivated, and satisfied. This is how a career counseling in a more in-depth way can give them absolute clarity.
Yeah, I love that. Satisfied, because job satisfaction is so super important. We've been hearing that certain fields like artificial intelligence and business analytics are the domains of the future with great career prospects. This is where everyone should go. But most of these fields got to do with technology. What if a student is not interested in anything digital or technical? Are there any other fields with excellent scope for growth, in your opinion?
Again, I think it's a very relevant question because I guess because technology has pervaded almost every industry in our lives, the general notion nowadays that the future belongs to emerging technologies like artificial intelligence and things like that, right? But that is not really the case. There are so many more occupations, which there are very many different fields and occupations that are interesting. I always get this question, so I prepared a slide to just show people the kind of opportunities out there. Let me just show that. Okay. See, what you're seeing now is basically what I'm sharing you is the Future of Jobs report. This is actually a biannual report published by the World Economic Forum, which actually provides an in-depth analysis of the job market, right? And it takes in all those influences like technology, demographic, and economic trends. Now, the key takeaway from the Future of Jobs report, which came out, the latest one in 2025, what it says is, if you see what is written there, even though technology is the one driving the jobs at the forefront, there is actually immense job growth prospect across creative, human-centric, legal, healthcare, sustainability domains. See, this diversity means professionals from different backgrounds, various backgrounds, from STEM to liberal arts education, have actually opportunity out there. They can get into meaningful jobs. It's not just about AI or technology. I think it's good to deep dive into this report because it's very useful and people keep asking which are the most relevant occupations to go for the future. Even within technologies sector, if you look at within that field itself, even though the noise is all about AI and machine learning, there are other very interesting fields like cybersecurity and IT infrastructure. What I've done is I've taken a field and I just put job clusters. There are 4 job clusters, if you can see, and occupations within that. To answer this particular question that you asked me, Lisa, that, okay, what happens if it's not technology? What if the kids are geared in a very different way, right? So if you look at the artistic fields, look at the clusters, there are so many different options. Visual arts, multimedia content, gaming, that's big time, right? And I've just put in some examples of occupations that are relevant. Creative leadership, brand strategists. So there are different fields within artistic domain itself. If you look at another domain like humanities and liberal arts, you see actually the clusters, right? Obviously, there's education, academia, but media and communication, new jobs coming from there. Cultural and social analysis, like it's always been there, but it's still growing. And language and translation cluster. This is a very interesting one. Sustainability and environment fields, that's new, right? Within that, again, there's a lot of different clusters that you see for 3 clusters, right? And within that, like environment, energy roles, if you see climate change analyst, we all know that is something that we all face today, climate change. So that's a very relevant job. Urban planning and sustainability, like a green building architect, sustainability program manager, these are all very interesting occupations for the future. Agriculture, sustainable agriculture specialist, again, a resource manager, like all these are, again, very interesting fields. Healthcare, obviously, you have your traditional roles, but those traditional roles are not being upended by AI anytime soon, like a nurse or a physician, radiologic technologist. Then, obviously, because of technology, you get newer fields in healthcare, telemedicine specialist, healthy informatics analyst. That's all the newer ones. And obviously, you have real growth projected from the report, like psychotherapist, occupational therapist, genetic counselor, new fields coming up. Even a law sector, some kids would be geared towards law. You have your traditional law practices, but look at the other stuff. There's legal tech and data, there's compliance and regulatory, and very specialized fields within that, like immigration specialists. We all know this is a problem for the future. So there are a lot of different fields that keep cropping up within these. So it's not everything about technology. Whatever field, and that's why it makes sense for us to actually do career counseling, because once we figure what the student is all about, there is definitely opportunities for the student, whichever field that they're suited for. And there are occupational choices in whatever the different domains are. And that's what I wanted to convey.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's actually a brilliant answer. And I saw some fields there. I wish I had those fields when I was going to school. But I'm asking this next question as a parent because I have 2 sons who are about to go into year 9. And so I need to know, is it better to do career counseling in 9th grade or later when they're nearer to university admissions?
Yeah, the answer I would give on that is the earlier the student gets to know about themselves, that self-knowledge. I think it's not all about careers also, right? It's all about that self-knowledge to give them that confidence. Like I said, MBTI, the personality one, can be taken from 9th grade onwards. All these assessments can be done from 9th grade onwards. The earlier that they do, that'll give them more self-confidence because they'll discover who they are. Second, and more importantly, doing this earlier would actually also help them because they will get an idea of the kind of their best fit career fields and they can actually work backwards. And even we know different curriculums have subject electives earlier on, like 9th, 10th grades, right? They can actually choose the relevant subject electives, which will be more relevant for their best fit careers, which we have identified. So in my opinion, of course, getting one done is all the more important, but the earlier the better. And I would say don't wait till university admissions. Lay a solid foundation by starting early.
Yeah, thank you. That's actually a brilliant answer. I have one more question, but please put your questions. I see some coming in the chat. Jump in the chat, people. Put your questions. We will have about 5-10 minutes to answer your questions at the end. But what is your most important message to parents and counselors here? Because you've given us lots of information. So, what is your most important question? Message, sorry.
I would say the most important message would be make the whole, because we are in this webinar full of counselors and educators and parents might have joined. So my advice or my message would be to make the student's journey completely personalized for the student. See, every individual is unique. We know that, it's a given. And one size doesn't fit all. We all know that too. So actually, we should empower them to discover themselves using psychometrics or otherwise and help them understand themselves better. And we should actually assist them in hand holding them on that journey, identify their unique natural potential, and help them each step of the way, be it subject choices, be it university courses later in their careers. They would have a solid foundation if they figured who they are, about their own potential, and how that potential can help them in future careers. And also the career mission statement that I talked about. That's absolutely important. We as educators and counselors, we can actually help students in at a school level to help them develop that, at least have some grasp of it, the mission that they have as a personal mission statement. That would also really empower them, give them the bigger picture to follow certain careers with confidence. I guess that's my most important message.
Brilliant. We have a few questions. Some are still coming in into the chat. Let me just go through. I think there is one here from Mr. Mahmoud. He is from Crown in Ajman. Just a second. I will get that question for you. He says, thank you, Mr. Aldo. I'm Dr. Mahmoud Aflam, PhD, working as a school social worker at Pace Creative British School in Amman. I have two fundamental questions regarding students in grades 9, 10, and 11, and 12. How can they effectively identify their unique natural potential at this stage of their academic journey? Second, how can we leverage AI-driven tools and technologies to analyze their interests, strengths, and aptitudes, helping them make informed career and academic choices?
Yeah, thank you for that question. And I guess I'll handle the first part, which is, yeah, how can we discover the unique natural potential? It has to be based on certain psychometric assessments, right? For sure. When I say psychometric, there are plenty out there. I just told you a couple of them which we use and which are considered gold standard. But the whole idea is that three circles that I talked about, that is the unique natural potential. And it has to be discovered through certain psychometric assessments. Yeah, that probably would be the first answer. In terms of, and it doesn't matter whether, I know the particular question was for students from 9th grade all the way to 12th. You can start from 9th grade onwards. Now, regarding AI is about information. AI just pulls in information from out there and summarizes it for you. That's a great help. For instance, I know in my own company, and which is related to your question, for instance, once we figure the best fit careers for the students after going through that entire process, we actually wanted to empower the students to search for, okay, if this is my career, which college which university should I apply, which is the best university, which offering such courses, what is the career trajectory in this particular best fit career of mine. All this, we have utilized AI component because AI can actually pull that information and summarize that for you. So we have in our platform itself, when students go through our career counseling process, they can actually key in all that, and ChatGPT would help you do the same. So I guess AI has become very useful, especially in terms of, I would say, in terms of search. You can ask AI, who am I? The AI wouldn't answer that. And that's why you need the psychometric assessments to discover yourself. So that's where I think there are certain limitations of AI now and where psychometrics comes in.
Yeah, Eldo, someone says, thank you. Guri says, thank you for the informative session. Says, my son is in year 5, but has 24 careers in mind. He wants to do everything. And I understand that he is too young, but he is passionate about everything. And it's a bit challenging for us to get him to learn everything in order for him to choose. So is there anything for children entering middle school so that we don't get overwhelmed, so that we can get a short list and guide in certain fields?
It's a good question. I would suggest that in this particular case, there are tools, but sometimes the research says that people's interest first time stabilizes around the time they are about 13 or 14. Right? Because since you mentioned that this particular student is interested in a lot of things, so I think it's good to wait for that stability to come in. And it's been researched that people's interest levels, obviously it keeps changing, but the first level of stabilization happens around the age 13 and 14. So that's when the ninth standard and all these psychometrics come in, right? There's a reason why it is coming in at that particular point in time. So I think it's a good idea to wait to see which of these interests will this particular child carry on till about high school or ninth would be a great time to actually consider, okay, now that we've reached the thing, which are the ones that he's still interested in? And then probably do a career counseling process. I would say starting too early would also be, in my opinion, not particularly relevant.
Yeah. Here's another question. In terms of MBTI testing taken at earlier stages, is it possible that people's personalities change, especially during these crucial developmental stages? How do we address this challenge so that the counseling does not lose value when conducted earlier on?
Yeah, so a good question. I think MBTI, that's a reason, again, why we start from ninth grade. But first and foremost, in terms of the questions asked in MBTI, which is about 93 questions, which is very simple. It's at the 8th grade reading level, right? It's not very complicated questions at all, very simple questions. Now, to answer that particular thing about what we're talking here is that word called reliability. If I take a test today, MBTI test today, and I take it like in the future, will it be the same? Will my personality be the same as what I had taken in ninth grade, right? After, if I took it in, let's say, college, a university, or later in my career. This is where it's been proved through reliability assessments that MBTI reliability is very high. Obviously, in some cases, it does change, but the reliability component of this for general people is very high. If a student took this in ninth grade, chances are that many years later, if they took the MBTI assessment, it would be the same. Now, why people get confused about this, and let me explain that also. There's a difference between personality and behavior, and that's very important to understand. See, MBTI is measuring something called personality. Now, behavior is something that we can change. That behavior is something that we keep adapting according to the different situations. So when we keep talking about personality, sometimes we kind of straddle both personality and behavior, and that's where we get confused. Personality is something that's way deeper in us, while behavior is something that we keep changing according to the situation. A perfect example is a kid who is very talkative, right? The personality is being a very talkative kid. That kid will keep quiet in a class because that's required of him. And that's behavior, because the student is required to be like that. The student who's a very talkative kid has changed his behavior. That doesn't take away the fact that this is a talkative kid. So I guess I'm just giving you the difference between that.
It's a good one. And then when is it too late? Someone is asking when is it too late for a student for career counseling?
I don't think there's any word called too late. I think even as adults, we should actually discover this. For a student, it's nothing about too late. Whether if you didn't have an opportunity to, if a student didn't have an opportunity to go through this in a scientific counseling, career counseling, in school level, even a university level would be great. Obviously, there's We do career counseling for adults, for mid-career transitions. There's nothing called, I don't think there's a word that there's a limit on when you should actually be doing it. But yeah, talking about a student, like I said earlier, the earlier the better. But that doesn't mean a 12th grade, it's too late. Even in 12th grade, before the university admissions and all that, it's always good to do this, get this done, so that they are very confident in terms of their best fit careers, so that they can choose the university courses aptly.
Yeah, and I think because we think a career is one, but really, as we go through life, our careers can change and we need to reassess ourselves to see where we now are and where it does fit. Someone is asking can we write the best psychometric assessments test? But you did mention, so can you just go over them again?
Sorry, Lisa.
The best
what-
psychometric assessments.
Sure. The couple of them I mentioned was, we did talk about, it's behind me also in this thing. We're talking about 3 circles, right? Personality, interest, and aptitude. For personality, I would really suggest Myers-Briggs type indicator. It's the world's most used assessment for understanding personality. Like I said, Fortune 100 companies use it. A lot of educational or top educational institutions use it. IVs use it worldwide, and it's translated into 30 languages. That's itself is a testament to the popularity of that assessment. For personality, it's called Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, MBTI. For the strong circle, for the interest circle, the strong interest inventory is the other assessment, which I talked about. It's an excellent career planning tool. Like I said, I did mention about how the strong interest inventory kind of helps the student understand the different aspects of interest itself: career interest, leisure interest, basic interest, specific interest, occupational interest, and most importantly, and I think I've covered this, but I'll just say that again since the question came. Strong interest inventory talks about 243 occupations. And based on the assessment, the students' ranking will be listed against 243 occupations. And these are pretty relevant occupations. Strong interest inventory keeps changing the list of occupations every now and then. So the latest version is only released 2 years back. So it got a lot of these new components of the AIs and the technology ones that we talk about. Even that is a great start for a student to understand their interest levels and the occupation that they would like.
Brilliant. Eldo, we are out of time, but thank you so much. For everybody who has stayed till the end, remember your registered email. We will send you your certificate in the next coming days. So you don't need to put your email again in the chat. We already have it once you have registered for this webinar. But I'd like to say a special thanks to Elder Kurubilla for his expertise on today's webinar. And if you'd like to get in touch with the Vidatma team, please see the slide which is currently on the screen. You can go to www.vidatma.com or you can email ask@vidatma.com if you would like to get them to give you more guidance in your school, or if you're a parent and you would like their assistance, please do get in touch. Eldo, thank you so much for your time on this webinar, to you and the Vidatma team. From all of us here at Teach Middle East, have a wonderful evening. This webinar is officially over. The recording of this webinar will be made available and sent out on email and will be available on the Teach Middle East YouTube channel. So that's the Teach Middle East YouTube channel. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Bye-bye.